Assalamu alaikum. Let's cook. MK Ultra, let's get into it. When the United States government fed massive doses of LSD to black prisoners in a federal facility every single day for 77 days straight, some more than that. Not a conspiracy theory. Fully documented public information, not a secret. Congressional records confirmed. CIA admitted program. Now this went down inside the walls of a federal facility in Lexington, Kentucky. Now, why did they do this? Well, because they're white. They don't care about black humanity, and they felt as though they needed some guinea pigs, some people to do experiments on to get their point across or do their whatever they had to do at the time. And at the time, it was 1953, the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union going at it, nuclear weapons, and also for control of the human mind. They're competing. Now, American intelligence, they believed that the Soviets had already developed techniques for mind control and behavior manipulation, so they felt behind. So they said, listen, we got to catch up. We got to keep up. So what they did was launch the top secret program called Project MK Ultra. And this was an illegal human experimentation program designed to identify drugs and develop procedures that could be used to alter human behavior. The goal was to find a way to control the way that people think, what they say, and what they do. Now, the person that they placed in charge of this operation was a Mayo monster white supremacist by the name of Sidney Gottlieb. He's a chief chemist for the CIA, this guy Sidney, who you see in the thumbnail, okay? Now, of course, again, he's a white supremacist, he's a Satanist, but to them, they thought that he was a brilliant guy. And he decided to go ahead and direct this entire MK Ultra program, and he oversaw all of it. He did all the work. The brutal work, this guy did it, this Sidney guy. So what he said was, I need some test subjects. He needed people that he could dose with dangerous or even lethal amounts of experimental drugs. He needs vulnerable people, compromised people, weak people, people who can't say no, people who can't fight back, okay? And also people that he knew if they spoke out, nobody would believe them anyway because they black. So he figured we can use the federal prison system. There's a lot of black inmates in there at this facility, which is located in Lexington, Kentucky. Now, this facility in Lexington, Kentucky, it was called the United States Narcotic Farm. It opened in the year 1935, and it later became known as the Addiction Research Center under the National Institute of Mental Health, okay? So this place, it was a federal prison because there were inmates who were incarcerated there serving sentences for drug-related offenses. And it was also a hospital and a research facility. It was both, okay? So it functioned as a federal prison and a research center. Now, this combination of incarceration and medical authority and racial targeting is what made this one of the most dangerous and exploitative institutions in American history. They pretty much said, look, we got sitting ducks right here. Now, this place, the National Institute of Mental Health, it operated what was called the Addiction Research Center. So on paper, it looked like a treatment facility, a place where people who were struggling with drug addiction could receive care and rehabilitation. But in reality, it was just a prison under the direction of a doctor by the name of Harris Isbell. That's the doctor's name who worked with this other Mayo monster who you see in this thumbnail. The other one is this guy, Harris Isbell. This is his prison. He's in charge of these programs. He's in charge of these inmates, okay? So with these two and the facilities that they had, it became one of the most active sites of human experimentation in American history. So Dr. Isbell and Dr. Gottlieb, they worked together, okay? They worked together. They had a large population of drug users, a bunch of black men who were in no position to complain. And if they did, who would care in the 1950s in America? They can get that off in 2026 right now. You know what I mean? So imagine 1950. Now, these black men in this Lexington facility, they were told that they were volunteers, and they were even offered a reward for their participation in this study, okay? Dr. Isbell called this drug trials. He said, you guys are volunteers. We're going to reward you. You know what I mean? And this is just a drug trial, but they were never told which drugs they were going to be given. They were never told the side effects of the drugs. They were not given any, information as to what was being done to their bodies and their minds. And they were paid for participating in these experiments, but they were paid with drugs. So check this out. The drugs that these men are supposed to be receiving addiction treatment for are the drugs that they were rewarded with for participating in the program. Yes, the United States government was running a drug addiction treatment center where the participants in this study were paid heroin as like it was money. So you're here for help with drugs. But if you participate in this experiment, we're going to reward you with the drugs that you're here to get help for. This is all facts, people, not making this up. Anybody can look it up. These people are evil. So, specifics to this experiment. Check this out. Now, they say that this was one of the most extreme experiments at this facility. You had a group of African American inmates who were administered triple doses of LSD every single day for 77 days straight. Every single day for 77 days straight. Triple doses. They wanted to see how much of an overdose it would take to completely destroy a human mind. Okay, let that soak in. That's what they were trying to do. They were using black prisoners in Kentucky to find out how much of this drug it would take to break a person's mind permanently. They knew what they were doing. This is what they wanted to do. So they also showed that black participants were given more than a double dose compared to who? White participants. Now here's the thing. There were some white people in it as well, okay? They had a small amount of white people or white participants in a separate study. Now for them, they only got 8 days, just 8 of LSD administration. And they took these white inmates to a researcher's home to be comfortable in a relaxed and social setting, okay? So they had a few white inmates who got hit only 8 days. We're not talking about 77 days of triple doses. So white inmates took them to the researcher's home so they could sit back and be comfortable as they're hit with this. The black inmates or the participants, whatever, they're getting hit with this triple for weeks and weeks and months on end. There was even one who was hit with 174 consecutive days. Now, here's the thing. You'll have white people that pop up and say, well, white people, they went through it too. They went. Yes, but even when these knuckle dragging beasts are being evil to their own people, they still make sure to treat them better than black people. 8 days. I mean, this is horrible what they did to their own people. White people don't care about their own people either. But when it comes to white people or black people, the comparison is like, man, you treating them great. You know what I mean? 8 days in a researcher's home, relaxed setting. Come on, man. Now, listen, people. Lexington wasn't the only site of this MK Ultra program. It operated all across the country. Black people at different locations. They went to the Atlanta State Penitentiary, Louisiana State Penitentiary, New Jersey Reformatory, Maryland Correctional Facilities, places where there were plenty of black men. In 1955, the CIA also funded a big experiment at Louisiana State Penitentiary. I must single that one out as well. And because they went really hard here, where black inmates were given LSD and another drug, very large doses. They wanted these men to, and they wanted to induce catatonia, or that's a serious condition where somebody just pretty much is just sitting there. They can't move. They're sensitive to pain. They have loss of memory, no willpower, no speech, nothing. They just sitting there frozen. This is what they did to these black men at Louisiana State Penitentiary and others, people. This MK Ultra program, I just had to single out this Louisiana, just like Kentucky, because it was another major spot in addition to all the other ones. But these two, they went super hard. You know what I mean? But listen, not only were they using LSD, they used 800 other psychoactive drugs on these black men at these facilities. LSD and 800 others. They were just making stuff and just using it. All done by the government. Sidney Gottlieb, he was in charge of all of them. He was the overseer of this MK Ultra program. The money, the experiments, where we gonna go, where we gonna do this, and that. You know what I mean? So what happened finally, people? 1873, you have a new CIA director, a guy by the name of Director Richard Helms. He took over. Before, you had the Dulles guy in. Anybody that wants to look into some evil white American people, look up that name, Dulles. Some of the worst in American history right there. Yeah, the airport in Virginia, same people. Now, you have a new CIA director. They have congressional investigations now, and they ordered the destruction of all MK Ultra files. They said, hide all this. The guy, Sidney Gottlieb, that personally overseen this program, he made sure that all the documents were shredded. There was an internal CIA informant that said, and I'm reading, I think every last one of us felt sorry to attempt this kind of thing. We knew we were crossing the line. Yep, they knew, and they destroyed the evidence anyway, but there were still enough documents that survived in a financial records room that were overlooked, so they still had a lot of documents, and these documents did confirm the full scope of what happened. And these congressional hearings in the year of 1977 laid out the facts for the American public. Senators heard the testimony, the nation was outraged, but nothing happened. So that's the thing. These white people, they do these things for entertainment. They have some of them coming in after a new administration comes in and they act all shocked and talk about how horrible it was. They really don't care. They do that for entertainment and just to call out some other white people for what they did, because within their snowball fight of the white folks, you know, they try to, well, who treated black people worse? You know, that's all it is. This guy who they knew did all these evil things, Sidney Gottlieb, they protected him. He retired comfortably on his farm in Virginia, growing his own vegetables. He was known to practice folk dancing, and he eventually taught speech therapy to children in India during his retirement. He was never criminally charged, and he died in 1999 at the age of 80. Now, off topic a little bit. Now, when I hear about a dude like that teaching speech therapy to children in India, come on, man. Come on. Look at the heart of this dude. Does he sound like somebody who would teach? He's over there doing what the white man does with little P. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what that was about. The same thing we have. Come on. Anyway, the other Dr. Harris Isbell, who worked in Kentucky, okay, he ran the Lexington facility. He was the one who I got all the inmates, let's use them. He was never criminally charged either. And the black men who they used, broken for life. Nobody cared. Minds messed up. Families already destroyed, already had issues. No compensation, no nothing. This story is not a conspiracy theory. This is real American history. This is what they do to black people in every way. It don't matter if it's prisons, schools. Many of us were part of experiments, don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? There are more experiments going on right now. They just did experiments a few years ago. You know what I mean? So when people say white devil, this is where it comes from. This is where it comes from. Stuff like this. Anyway, people, easy.